Welcome to the real estate market prediction roller coaster. I'm going to take you on a ride of 3 different videos that I'll react to that I think have great information, but also tell us that we are on a roller coaster and people think it's going this way and that way. And what way do I think it's going? I think that's what's most important and why you're here to listen to what I have to say. Check it out on the other side. Hey, what's up everybody? I'm Rob Howe. I'm a Las Vegas realtor. You can find me at LasVegasRealtorRobHowe.com. That's my last name, H-A-U, LasVegasRealtorRobHowe.com. If you want to know about Summerlin South, a lot of people know about Summerlin, but they don't know about Summerlin South. I've got a bunch on Summerlin South. I am the Summerlin South expert, so check that out. I'm going to get right into some videos here that I'm going to react to about what's been happening in, obviously, the real estate market. And I just think it's getting a little wild out there. It's wildly different viewpoints about what's happening. And there's some good advice. I think all of these videos have good advice. Some people are just taking this way or that way. Some people, depending on the week, are going one way and then another. I could probably be accused of that, but we are checking out the information. And one thing that I always want to say, for me, I'm looking ahead no more than 6 months. Mostly, I'm going to look at 30, 60, and 90 days. And especially the next, I think about 60 days to 90 days are going to be very important for what's going to happen next in the real estate market. So make sure to check out my Robnostications. I did one last week. It'll be the last video that I did, so check that out. I'll put it right here. How about that? Bam, there's my Robnostication. And here we go. I'm going to get right into this video, a negative Nancy video. What do you say? Somebody that just is completely negative on the market. You've heard it, I'm sure, and this one comes from NBC News. The housing market is crashing, says KPMG chief economist. Let's see what she has to say.
For rent or a mortgage. And this is where you come in. You were sounding the alarm bell. You're fearing that the housing market is crashing.
It is crashing, and you know what's really it underscores is how it is. We've seen rapid rate hikes, not just rate hikes on mortgage rates. They've been rapid rate hikes, and that's even more destabilizing than just moving up rates. And I think it's something that the Fed has understated in their own views in terms of how rapidly it's taken a toll on the housing market. And what's interesting is we're seeing also some of the hottest markets in the country are now beginning to cool on prices despite still really constrained supplies. People aren't willing to sell out of those 3% mortgages that they locked into a year ago and put their houses on the market. And so we're not seeing the downward pressure on prices that you would normally see from a surge in an excess supply of people trying to sell homes.
This is something the Fed knew, okay? The Fed knew that they could make these moves, and yes, it was going to hurt some people. It is hurting some people. It's certainly hurting people to be able to get in homes and first-time home buyers. It's just that it's, you know, some of this, the prices have made things out of reach. You have high prices with high interest rates, and that's just never a good thing. Historically high prices and historic movements of these interest rates going up. She's very correct on why this is happening, but is this a housing crash? I would say that this is a controlled demolition, and I'm going to keep saying that. The Fed has decided to do this, and this is the one thing that is affecting our market. One of the things that I'm going to be keeping an eye on as we go into next year certainly will be is if unemployment rises at all. If we start seeing a lot of unemployment, now a new shoe will have dropped, and it could affect people in a way of getting foreclosures or short sales involved. I still think that's highly unlikely because most people can sell without going negative. So why wouldn't you take whatever profit that you would have and go ahead and sell your property if you were really in trouble, you lost your job? Not to mention, this would take a long time. So as far as foreclosure process is concerned, it's not the 60 to 90 day or the 90-day process that it was back in 2008 when we had the major crash last. So just wanted to show you that video. That video comes from NBC News. It'll be in, the link will be in the description down below. Let's move on. Plenty more for you here. Let's go to Dave Ramsey here. Is Dave Ramsey still right about the housing market not crashing? This is why I back-to-back these videos, because the one, it says, yes, the housing market is crashing. And this one, well, let's see what he has to say.
But a lot of people were predicting 2008 again, that real estate prices were going to absolutely tank. We said they are not going to tank because there is a pool of buyers that is much larger than the pool of sellers still, and the supply-demand curve will maintain the prices, meaning when you have a whole bunch of people trying to buy a few things, it holds prices.
I have touched on many times that we could be in a recession but still have low inventory that would keep the housing market going. Now, at the time that I said that, I didn't know that we didn't know for sure, I should say, because I've definitely predicted that we would have, I mean, it wasn't a hard prediction when you're being told by the Fed that they may have to jack up the rate very high, but I definitely keyed in on the idea that inventory was going to stay low. Now, along the way, I thought we would see by this point, it's November, late November when you're going to watch this, and I thought by this point we would see about 6 months of inventory. We have not hit that point yet. This is a good thing. This is also something that was calculated in the Fed's moves, I believe, and it goes back to people not having to sell. Many people made a lot of moves in the last couple of years, and a lot of these people are sitting pretty. They don't want to move. There is always reason to move. There is always going to be people that have to sell. And so as I get to the next video, I got something for you if you're in that position that's very important in my opinion. Listen to more of Dave making his case that this is not 2008.
It's that simple. When there's a scarcity, prices go up or at least are maintained at a minimum. And we said, of course, the exception to that is the areas where people are leaving en masse, and we showed a map of the number of people that have left New York and left California and have left some of the high crime cities and crazy politics of all kinds, defund the police or whatever else cities. And so and we said reports are coming out right now. We just got one dropped on the desk. Western U.S. continues to lead in home price declines. So now California is seeing the mass exodus.
Yes, exactly this is what's happening, especially in Las Vegas. We had historic, absolutely blowing through the roof price increases. And so when you get this pressure, it is natural that it's almost like it's overinflated. Yes, you could call it a bubble, but I would call it more like, not a bubble, like a blister that you have to, get rid of the liquid inside and then get it down so you can, heal.
Actually, you're not supposed to do that with blisters. You just let them be.
But yeah, it's more like a blister that has to heal and not really a bubble that's going to pop and make you bleed all over the place. That's the way I would look at this, and that's what he's basically saying. So this video, by the way, is 3 weeks old, so I'm sure he could revise some of this information. But I just wanted to show Dave Ramsey, somebody who is obviously hailed as somebody who knows what he's talking about quite a bit. He's been sticking to his guns that this is not 2008 crashing. I would agree with him 100%. Again, until other shoes, drop, I just don't see that at all. I think the reason why you want to know that is because if you're a seller, that somebody that maybe has property, a lot of investors, and we're going to go to this next, they worry that they see something happening and they need to go ahead and bail out and get out of the marketplace. Well, if you feel that that's true, then I've got a video for you and I've got a plan for you that is within that video that I think is very smart. The only question you have to ask yourself is, are you at an emergency point where you want to sell, where you feel like I need to get out before this gets worse? I don't see that, folks, but I'm going to give you advice on it just in case you do. This video here comes from Living in Maryland with Karen Gardner. I don't know her. I just found a video that I thought was compelling, and she's talking about Redfin's CEO admits everything. Okay, everything. They admit everything. I guess everything they ever did since they were a little kid. That's what they're admitting. I don't know. And here we go.
Why? Where he quotes Kelman as saying that investors and iBuyers specifically are responsible for correcting home prices faster now than back in 2006. He explains it like this. Historically speaking, home prices are sticky. Sellers simply don't want to relent on home prices unless economics, like a supply gut, force their hand. That's not as much the case for institutional investors and builders. If they think prices are about to drop, they want to get out first.
Yep. Now, I did talk a lot about this in previous videos. Actually, if you watch the updates that I do with Angela O'Hare on her channel, I definitely have mentioned over time that if I thought there was a bubble, it was in the investor territory, where if all the investors felt pinched at the same time, that they could really crash our market. That, though, I don't see coming at all, because rent rates are still very strong. And even if they go down a little bit, the people that might get hurt most by this would be the more recent buyers. And that's definitely a smaller pool, even though there was enough of them to create some issue. I think that that pool is relatively small, and most investors bought at a better time, and actually through overtime, they've increased what they thought they would get on their return on their investment, and they've got high equity value. Now, some of those, they might just want to go ahead and cash out and diversify, but I don't think it's a pretty time to do that. If you wanted to do that, here's more information that I think is good.
Saw investors become a higher share of buyers, Kelman says. Ultimately, it makes the U.S. housing market more vulnerable to a faster swing down. When the shiitake mushrooms hit the fan, you, meaning investors, want to get out first. The way to do that is to figure out where the lowest sale is and be 2% below that. And if it doesn't sell in the first weekend, move it down again, Kelman says. So he's basically admitting that he's telling the Redfin iBuyers to drop their price immediately below the lowest comp on the market. And if this is true, you can bet that home prices will go down a lot.
If he's telling the investors to do that, if you're a seller that's not an investor, isn't that good advice for you to follow? I think it is. Whether you're an investor or not, if you want to sell, if you think it's time to get out, if you really believe that the market is going to crash even worse, that we're just headed for a cliff ahead, then this plan right here I think is great. You're going to go ahead and you're going to put your property on the market below the lowest comp by 2%, and if it doesn't sell in a week, you're going to knock it down another 2% and continue that process until you get it sold. This is what buyers are looking for, folks. They're looking for deals. The ones that are out there, they have to have a deal in order to get it done. They're probably going to need some closing costs, if not a considerable amount. So these are all things to consider if you're a seller. Sellers are always in the market. There is always going to be somebody that has to sell, whether it's for, work in another state or another opportunity, or they just feel like what I've been talking about, it's time to get out. So as I've been saying, the signs are all over the place, and all the prognostications are proving this from everybody. If you're watching different videos, you're getting all different kinds of viewpoints. My job is to help you sift through that and sort of just keep on edge here, keep some balance in what's happening. I want to be real with everybody. If you look at my past prognostications, I've been very, very straightforward. And, look, I don't want to tell people that, it's bad time to buy or bad time to sell, but I do want to give people the real information that's going to help them make a better decision, help you make a better decision. The Fed is part of this mixed message because they're almost like a poker player right now. They don't exactly want to tell us what they're thinking. And I do think that some of it is so information based that they don't know what they're thinking until they see the information either. So like when the CPI report, the Consumer Price Index, comes out and it's positive, they're looking for more of that information. And if that continues, then we can say that maybe this won't be as deep of a long-term interest rate, high interest rates as what we're seeing, and maybe not going up and up more with them. Although they have signaled that they're going to do another rate hike. So as we go forward, I just want to say that the holiday season will also continue to freeze up the market. I just say, hey, listen, enjoy your holidays. If you don't have to sell, if you don't have to buy, then enjoy yourself this holiday season. I think that's what a lot of people are going to do. To wrap it all up too, there is a massive social media effect on this. When buyer confidence has been hammered as hard as it has, and they're saying it's historically low, there's one reason for it, because the information gets to people more than it ever has before, and more quickly than it did before. Back in 2006, 2008, I should say, really, when the market started, when everybody was being alerted to what the market was happening in the market, it still took time, and people were still buying 2009. Although those people didn't get hit, nearly as bad as people who bought in 2006, and most of those people knew what they were getting into. But it took time, and it didn't freeze up the market until kind of later, when we really saw all those foreclosures coming in, and then everybody got the news. But it took a while. Now, social media sort of sets off the alarm. So it's the good and bad of social media, and that's what we're trying to sift through here, is what is good for us, what is bad for us, what information is solid, what information is garbage. All right, so anyway, I hope I've helped you figure out a little bit more of the puzzle that might help your personal real estate portfolio going ahead. I thank you for watching this. Please subscribe to my channel. All the links will be below, and I hope everybody has a great day. I'll see you on my next video. Thank you, everybody.